All right, Prop Beaver, you wanted to come on and talk about your division rivals. True or false? The Patriots are the worst team in the NFL.
I don't believe that's necessarily true. I actually don't. I don't have like the smallest of hopes for this Patriots team. I guess that's a weird way to word that. But yeah, when we're looking at this over under for the Patriots, I know a lot of people are looking at this Patriots roster. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, Jesus Christ, not much talent to be had here. But I don't think it's as bleak as people are looking at it to be. Alex Van Pelt is coming over from Cleveland. He's going to be taking over as the offensive coordinator. Van Pelt served as the Browns offensive coordinator from 2020 to 2023. Now, it's not like Cleveland fired him or anything. So why did he come over to New England? Well, this is going to be his first gig as the play caller. He was not the play caller in Cleveland. That was Kevin Stefanski. So what can we really expect from Van Pelt? Well, I don't really know. Drew Petzing was under Stefanski in Cleveland. He was also under Van Pelt. He was, he was a QB coach, also a tight end coach. He was the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals last year, and he did pretty good with Arizona. He didn't have a whole lot to work with. I mean, who was like the number one wide receiver over there? He had Marquise Brown, who eventually got injured halfway through the season. Michael Wilson. Rondale Moore. I mean, that was not a really good offense over there, and he showed a lot of... Yeah, the Dorchinator, and he showed a lot of creativity over there. By the time that Kyler Murray came back, they were over the 0% mark in terms of DVOA. So maybe Van Pelt isn't that bad of a play caller here. And on top of that, something interesting that I found is that Jacoby Brissett actually had his best season with Van Pelt as his coordinator in 2022. Let's not forget that. So they have some familiarity here together. Now, last season, I don't know what the hell this dude Belichick was doing as a GM. I mean, it almost seems like they were trying to put together the worst offense possible. One thing I do like this offseason is that they brought in two receivers now in the forms of rookies. Jalen Polk out of Washington and Javon Baker out of UCF. If you guys are following anything that's coming out of camp thus far, Jalen Polk has been the talk out of camp. Every single thing that I'm hearing out of camp is Jalen Polk, Jalen Polk, Jalen Polk. This dude has been phenomenal thus far. I believe they had like a heavy formation earlier today, and he was the lone receiver on the field. So they're expecting some heavy things out of Jalen Polk right out of the gate. So if you're a fantasy guy, you're looking for a sleeper, potentially a guy who is going to be in those two wide receiver sets right out of the gate, Jalen Polk's a guy you may want to look at in those late rounds. And then Javon Baker, he's a guy who exploded after transferring from Bama to UCF. 21.9 yards per reception after he went from Bama to UCF those final two seasons. So there's a lot of upside there as well. I just think that the offense, while it's probably going to be bottom five,
it can't be worse.
I think that it can't possibly be worse than it was the last two seasons. And with Ramondre Stevenson coming off the worst season of his career last season, he has to be in a bit of an upgrade. I think that there's going to be a bit of improvement on the offensive side of the ball, actually.
Okay. Here's Prop Beaver's almighty flaw when analyzing teams in the offseason. He's very positive, and he always sees the optimism. And yes, the Patriots may be improved, but who are they better than? That's the question. Who are they better than? Who in the AFC? Who are they better than? Because in order for them to win, if we're going to say they're going to win 5 games, we got to put them ahead. I think
you look at things completely incorrectly. I'm not trying to play that game. I'm just trying to play that will they win 5 games? And I think that they will win 5 games.
Against who?
That doesn't matter to me.
What?
It's will they win? The game is will they win 5 games? I don't have to figure out who they will win 5 games against.
But what you're missing is there's going to be at least 2 teams that win less than 5 games. There always is.
Okay.
So if you look at every single team, you're like, no, they'll win 5. They'll win 5. You're wrong a couple times.
No, there are teams that I think are worse than the Patriots. I don't need to reveal that to you. I don't need to reveal that to you right now, boss.
All right. So Prop Beaver thinks they win 5 games. Modai?
So what? 4.5. I would probably take the over. I feel like, I agree with you that 2 teams will win fewer than 4.5 games. But the problem is, like, if you just blanketly say like if you're telling me 2 of 32 teams, then the odds are that each individual team is going to win more than 4.5 games. You know what I mean? Like, you're just playing the math there. If you just take the over on every single 4.5, more often than not, you're going to be right. What teams are worse than the Patriots? I think the Broncos are going to be trash. I don't know if they'll be worse than the Patriots. I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I'm not a Sean Payton guy. What has he had done without Drew Brees?
Broncos are a 500 team last year, though. I don't know. Sean Payton's second year. I mean, I'm not saying the Broncos are going to be good, but if you give me a choice, Broncos or Patriots.
I'm also not I'm not a Titans guy. I'm not saying they're going to win 4 games, but I'm not a Titans guy. I'm not a Will Levis guy.
I'm not a Titans guy either.
Yeah, I'm not a Will Levis guy. I'm going to
do a poll right now. Worst team in the AFC. I'm going to put.
I mean, I agree that the AFC is tough, and I do think that. Patriots,
if I remember
Titans,
correctly, they have Broncos. Who would be the fourth one in consideration of that?
I mean, the Patriots have the second hardest strength of schedule, so that their division is tough. The AFC is tough. I'm definitely not saying that.
Raiders would be the fourth team probably, even though I think most people think they're going to improve. But I think if we had to pick 4 to put in this poll, it would be who is the worst team in the AFC? Because I kind of think it's either Patriots or Titans.
I think it would be the Raiders.
But the Raiders look pretty good. They had the best defense in the NFL when what's his name took over?
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. How often does that testosterone hard-nosed football?
Yeah, I agree.
I really think that was more so just literally just it was momentum and just exactly testosterone, as Mo would I put it, of just getting that piece of shit McDaniel out of the locker room. Oh, finally, we don't have to see this fuck anymore. I mean, down the stretch, who do they play? Here's this Raiders schedule, by the way. They played Minnesota with Josh Dobbs, super dope. Easton Stick, super dope. Mahomes, I'll give you that, cool. The Colts, and then the Denver Broncos. I mean, they didn't play anybody. So this Raiders defense, that's shutting teams down, they didn't play anybody. I don't think that team's good at all whatsoever.
I think that's a solid take. And if you had brought that up when I asked, I would have been like, yeah, I could see that. I wasn't asking as if prove me wrong. I was genuinely asking.
I think the problem is though when you're trying to mathematically calculate this win total, it's okay, well, I think they're gonna win this game and this game and this game. No, see, I feel like that's dumb. I feel like don't try and do it like that. I feel like that's what I used to do with K props and shit, and I used to lose at a much higher rate than being okay, just look at the lineup as a whole and just try and figure it out. I just looking at the schedule as a whole and just looking at everything, I just think that this defenses win games. Aaron Schatz and their projection, they have this offense ranked 30th, dead last. You know how many games they have them projected to win this season? 7, because they have the defense is 3rd. I don't think they're going to be the 3rd best defense. I think that's a bit crazy, but this defense was, I think, 2nd last season, and they didn't even have their top 3 players. They didn't have Christian Gonzalez. They didn't have Marcus Jones. They didn't have Matthew Judon.
They had Belichick, though.
Okay, so let's just say they get rid of Belichick, right?
They did get rid of Belichick.
Well, they got rid of Belichick. Let's say they go from 2nd to now 10th in defense. They also are getting rid of the offensive cancer, I believe. I mean, Belichick was putting this offense
at the end,
in the worst possible position to succeed every single year. I mean, Jesus Christ.
At the end, the last few years, not every single year.
What the fuck was he doing?
I mean, I agree with you. But you're saying, okay, so last year they won 4 games. And you're saying, well, what if their defense drops back to 10th? If you're, well, that offense better take a pretty significant jump.
What if the offense improves to 24th or 25th?
I don't know. I think it'd be under.
I mean, you're getting a pretty good price on the under, but I mean, I don't think that losing Belichick is that big of a deal. I mean, again, what has Belichick done without Brady? It's I feel like these head coaches, you see Mike Tomlin, year after year, they win 9 games and their quarterbacks have been shit.
Hold on, though. I'm not a huge Belichick apologist or anything, but Belichick is the defensive coach, and they still had the number 2 defense in football last year, despite all the injuries. Yeah. So, I mean, that's at least some kind of positive testament there.
Yeah, for sure. The defensively, but also they kept Draw Mayo is on the coaching staff. Maybe he's not going to be as good as Belichick, but he could easily be a good defensive head coach. D'Amico Ryan's a different person, but former NFL player, awesome defensive mind, has made the Texans defense respectable with not a lot of talent. The Patriots do have talent. And like I said, Gerard Mayo was there and was Belichick's guy.
I feel like there's a recent example of this where we've seen like a respected head coach where if they like moved on from that respected head coach, it was like, oh shit, is there going to be this massive fall off? And there wasn't. And it was like, oh wow, holy shit, thank God they moved on from that coach. Things are okay. You can breathe. Like, I can't remember this fucking example.
Probably for a team. Someone brought it up in the comments. A team that we probably. Maybe not quite as bad as these teams, but a team you could throw in there with all the receivers gone. What are the Chargers like?
No, I don't know. The Chargers are so tough for me to read. It's like, are the Chargers going to be this team that like, I don't know, man.
Well, we'll get to the Chargers on another day.
Yeah.
All right. So I would lean towards the under here. I'm not going to bet this one because it's juiced. If you want to take the over 4.5 for the Patriots, it's juiced heavy, -150. So. Mm-hmm. Which tells us odds makers have them at about 5 wins, which is kind of what Prop Beaver and Modai are saying. They have them to get 5. So, all right.
Defense wins games.
As far as this poll, 50% of you, I said worst team in the AFC. It was a blowout win for the Patriots. Most of you said New England is the worst team in the AFC. I think I would agree with the poll. Throw a slight honorable mention to Tennessee in there.
They could be the worst team in the AFC and still win 5 games.
I don't know about that. I don't think so. Has that ever happened? The worst team in the conference wins 5 games? I don't think so.
I mean, the
especially because the AFC is pretty top heavy. You know, the Chiefs are gonna. You know, like there's teams. The Ravens are gonna win 13 or 14. You know, there's the AFC is pretty top heavy.
Yeah, it is. I'm just saying the NFC could have 2 teams that don't win more than 5 games.
Possibly, but all right,
they could have 3.
Let's talk some college football. It'll just be me and Andy for that one. So this is probably when most of the viewers leave. Modai, have a good night, man. Prop Beaver, I'll see you. You're coming over, right?
Yeah. One thing I do want to say though, right before we leave, okay, so the worst team in the conference a lot of the time does not get that 5th win. The second worst team though, a lot of time does get that 5th win. I don't think the Patriots are going to be the worst team in the conference. I think they'll be the second worst. God bless you, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to do your
and
underdog?
the underdog.
Okay.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy.
I would have forgot. And where did you put that? You emailed it to me, right?
Yes.
So Prop Beaver has an NFL underdog to share with us.
Yes. I wish they had the Polk dog up here, but they don't.
They don't have Polks up?
They don't have Polk.
Dude,
so
you're a buyer on Jalen Polk, huh?
I'm a big-time buyer. When the price is less than a Snickers bar, yeah, I'm willing to buy in.
Snickers are expensive, bro. Inflation.
Yeah, I know.
Inflation.
Mars and companies really got to lower those prices. So yes, instead of going with Polk, I'll just take the other person I like in this offense, Hunter Henry. So, Stefanski and Petzing. Those are 2 guys who love to use those tight ends. I mean, McBride and Njoku both had massive years last year. Let's see if that translates with the third guy from that offensive tree right here with Van Pelt. Let's see if Hunter Henry can go over those receiving yards mark. I believe it'd be for the 4th or 5th season in a row now. There's just not that much in terms of receiving competition either. I mean, yeah, there's a lot in terms of names, but in terms of actual talent, nobody. So, I think that Hunter Henry can go over the mark here. Yeah, Hunter Henry higher than 399.5 receiving yards.
All right, gentlemen, have a good day. Me and Andy are about to